How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? Data here, and welcome back to the Vancouver Canucks franchise mode here on NHL 24. Moving into episode number 15, the 2027 postseason. In the last one, we wrapped up our fourth year with the Canucks with our best season yet, making the postseason for a fourth consecutive year, winning our second Pacific Division title, but winning our first President's Trophy during our time here with the Canucks, and the franchise's first in 15 years. We finished atop the NHL with 114 points. Our record was 53, 21, and 8, but our special teams were atrocious. That was the big theme of last episode. Our power play ended at 16.4%, which isn't horrible, but it's very low according to our franchise mode standards. It was actually our lowest power play percentage since year number 1 with the Penguins on NHL 23. So 20 years with the Penguins, 4 years with the Canucks. It's been a long time since we've seen a number this low. 16.4% on the power play. Our penalty kill did turn it around a little bit. We were in the 80s. We ended at 83.3, which was great, but we definitely want to be thinking about lineup changes headed into the postseason. Speaking of the season that was, Elias Pettersson had a great year finishing point per game, and Quinn Hughes, our captain, did the same. Aside from that, last episode was entitled Wheels Falling Off ? And a few people in the Discord and in the YouTube comments were saying, was it kind of clickbait? I don't think you can say that the wheels fell off after you win the President's Trophy, but it was more in reference to the pace that we were on in the first half of the season. In the first half of the year, JT Miller, Sam Reinhart, especially Anze Kopitar, all players who were on pace to score around that point per game range. Reinhart was on pace for over 40 goals. Kopitar was on pace for point per game. In the end, he finishes with 58. Stuff like that. It wasn't a horrible year by any stretch of the imagination, but the second half pace was very different from the first half pace. So that being said, JT Miller did end with 70 points. Reinhart, 31 goals and 66 points. Aturatu, crazy year from him, 34 goals and 63 points from the young 24-year-old Finn. Kuzmenko, 60 points, was disappointing when he's usually in the 80 range. Kopitar, yes, he's getting older, and yes, his overall is low. But in the first half, I think he had 39 points in 41 games. And then in the second half, what would that be? 19 points in 37 games? So it was a very different Anze Kopitar, but we're still impressed with what he's doing, especially at 39 years of age. Hronek, 48, Bertuzzi, 44. The year one of the experiment of bringing the Bertuzzi name back to Vancouver, I'd call it a success so far. He's been a good middle six guy, putting in time on the power play and the penalty kill as well. 44 points from Tyler Bertuzzi. Dano, like another guy, Dano was on pace for 50 points. He ends with 36. Lekaramaki, 35-point rookie season, which is great, but he was on pace for 48. Another player who fell off a little bit, but more of a leeway for a rookie. We'll give it to him. Put Coles in. Coleman was our big pickup at the deadline. We like our team. We're President's Trophy winners, but we did want a little bit of help on the fourth line, / more like a penalty kill specialist, and Coleman's been good. He helped to raise our percentage up from the 80s to 83.3. In 19 games as a Canuck, he scored 5 points and was a +3 while only playing $9.25 per night. So Blake Coleman has been good in his role down on the fourth line, and we really need him on that penalty kill. Hannafin, 23 points, was a +36. Both he and Hronek were in those +30s. Very good to see from the second pair on defense. Willander, Manson, Anderson Dolan, Susi, currently injured, of course, as well. And down the list we go. Goaltending was solid this season. The pace did fall off from the first half, but our two main guys, Luukkonen and Silovs, both ended with a .918 save percentage. Luukkonen, 27, 14, and 6 with a shutout, add in 2.6 goals against average, while Silovs, in less appearances, was 21, 4, and 2, .918 save percentage, 2.51 goals against. And of course, our ace in the hole, Casey DeSmith. King Casey went 5 and 3 in 8 appearances, .907 save percentage, 3.11 goals against. So there's a quick recap on the season that was, but I don't think we can go into the postseason, despite being President's Trophy winners, with the lineup that we have today. The power play needs another tweak again, and I think I'm looking to a little bit of a bottom six change as well. I'll get to that in a moment once we highlight the comments from the assistant general managers, and there may be even a change in the top six I'm considering as well. Not too much to tweak, but enough that I want to start the postseason with a bit of a different look. So with a heavy focus on those lineup changes, I'm going to start with Cheating Heels comment, as Cheating Heels said, very good season, all things considered. Absolutely. It looks as though Kuzmenko is driving everybody down this season for some reason. On the first line, he wasn't helping, and then the second line, which was incredible, he came onto it, wasn't helping. Aside from Kuzmenko, although I'd probably prefer to keep Lekaramaki in the lineup, we might want to put Podkolzin on the third line as he usually steps up in the playoffs. and we should have Maroon on the fourth line as he's also a playoff beast. Maybe we put Lekkerimaki as fourth line center instead of benching him in that case, but we probably need to find a spot for Maroon. As for the goaltenders, I'd say start with either UPL or Silovs and switch after each loss. If they win the game, they come back for the next one. I don't think there's a clear-cut number one at this point, and both had similar numbers. Let's cross our fingers and hope that our offense gets back on track. We'll need everyone to step it up if we want to win that cup. Go Nucks. Thank you, Cheating Heel, and excuse the little emoji censoring there. Just gotta be careful for monetization. So Cheating Heel raises a good point, especially about Podkolzin and Maroon. Podkolzin in the past has showed up in the postseason. 11 points in 19 games a couple of years ago, 6 points in 19 games, but 4 goals. The goal scoring is what's most important last season in the playoffs. So getting him on the third line would be optimal. At the same time, historically, rookies do not do very well in the postseason simulation. So putting Lekkerimaki down in the lineup will probably help both of them. Plus, it gives a +2 to the third line. Bertuzzi, Deno, and Podkolzin get a +2. So down on the fourth line now, I wouldn't want to take out Blake Coleman, and I would prefer to keep Lekkerimaki in the lineup as he's at least good for the second unit power play. But I would love to get Patrick Maroon in the lineup. If we go down into the AHL, we had to move him down momentarily after the Blake Coleman trade, but we knew that we wanted to get him back up. In 63 games this season, he had 9 goals and 12 points, and in the postseason the last few years, 7 points in 19 games 2 years ago, 5 points in 19 games last year. He's just got that clutch veteran presence, so if Maroon can come back in the lineup, that would be ideal. Does that mean that Jared Anderson-Dolan moves out? That's most likely the case. He did have a good season. He's been good in that fourth line role, 17 points in 82 games, a +5, and I wouldn't say that he's out for the entire playoffs, but I think I would prefer to start the postseason with who'd be 65 faceoffs. Probably Coleman goes fourth line center, Lekkerimaki stays fourth line right wing plus second unit power play, and then Maroon would come in as fourth line left wing. So I'm going to try sending down Liam Foudy. I guess he has to go through waivers. I'm not too scared about that. And we'll call up Patrick Maroon, and we'll do that in just a moment. On top of that, when we look at the forwards, I said I was considering a change in the top 6, but I might wait a couple games for that. We've been disappointed with Kuzmenko, but he does give the first line a +5, and we know how great the second line is, Reinhart, Kopitar, and Ratu, as they were all on like point per game paces through the first half of the season. We tried changing things up to get Kuzmenko going. He hurt the second line, and is that why Kopitar and Reinhart slowed down? It's possible. We'll try starting the postseason with the same top 6 that we used to have the first half of the regular season, and we'll go from there. But Kuzmenko, you're on very thin ice, buddy. Now, keeping on the lineup, before we go to the goaltenders, we'll jump over to Gavin's comment. Gavin said, very interesting situation going into the playoffs. One thing I noticed that may be plaguing our awful power play, at the halfway mark, Lekkerimaki had 5 power play points on the second unit. He gets moved to the first unit and then has 0 power play points in the second half, despite being, wasn't he the finisher on the first unit? No wonder that first unit couldn't get it going. I think although we would like to keep stimulating his growth, we need to put the team's needs first and take him off the power play. Move our top goal scorer and future Data 782 Hall of Famer Ratu up there. I'm fully in favor of getting Ratu on that first unit. We'll make that change in a moment. Back to the goaltending though, I think that UPL is the guy to start with the playoffs, but if he falters, then who do we turn to? DeSmith has been clutch and has a proven track record in the playoffs, but he had an average regular season. Maybe King Arthur's the guy. Also thought I'd point out that Chandler Stevenson had 103 points this season. Great video data, and see you in the playoffs. Gavin, thank you so very much. So you read my mind on the power play. We got to get something changed there. Reinhart ended up taking Lekkerimaki spot in the last few games of the season, or at least towards like the last 15 games or something. But I'm thinking we do indeed get Ratu onto this first unit. I think Reinhart stays as the finisher in this spot, and Ratu comes to the point with Quinn Hughes. I say that because on the second unit, Ratu has been playing the point because of his shot power, 93 slap shot power especially. And on the power play, he has 7 power play goals and 13 power play points. So I'm thinking, yes, bring him to the first unit, but let's keep him at the point so that he can have that hard shot. Plus, Sam Reinhart and his 90 shooting accuracy can stay as the finisher. So Lekkerimaki will come off, Ratu will come over, maintains the +5, great news. Then on the second unit, we'll bring Lekkerimaki back, we'll give him some ice time, but we'll keep, I think, Kuzmenko, Kopitar, and Bertuzzi as the 3 forwards, and hopefully that gets something jump-started, I don't know what. Penalty kill we won't touch, and I think that's just about it for our lineup. Let me just get Maroon in here. And there we go. Patty Maroon, welcome back. Possibly one last run. We brought you in a couple seasons ago to bring that veteran presence in the postseason. We need you to show it again in 2027, my friend. Now, finally finishing up with the goaltending. We've already had a couple of thoughts on the goaltending situation so far. There were a few other comments on it. Mark saying, I think Silovs gets game one. Then you have Gen Z McKenzie who left a comment giving explanation for why Luukkonen should be the starter. Silovs and Luukkonen had identical save percentages, but Luukkonen has a slightly higher goals against average. I think this actually reflects better on Luukkonen than Silovs because that means that the former, Luukkonen, is facing more shots per game, which means the defense is worse when he starts and he has to be better to make up for it. Also, this season, Luukkonen has played a lot more games than Silovs, which means that he has kept up his play more consistently than Silovs, allowing us to trust him more. Also, Silovs was horrible last postseason, so you might as well give Luukkonen the chance. Then, going over to Super Loser, Super Loser says, hey Data, great episode as always. The only thoughts I have are about the goaltending. I'm leaning towards Silovs for game one, because although in the real world wins and losses aren't a good goalie stat, in EA land, you never know. If one goalie is winning more than another, that is absolutely something that should be taken into consideration, especially if it was at the pace Silovs was on. Plus, Silovs had a better second half. His save percentage went up while Luukkonen's went down. Luukkonen also wasn't great in the slow sim. That Seattle game in particular was brutal. I'd give Silovs the game one start, but on a short leash. If there's any signs of trouble, go to UPL or to Smith. Let's bring home that cup. Good luck and go Canucks. So thank you, Super Loser, and thank you, Gen Z McKenzie. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, we have no experience with him in the postseason. In the simulation, he played 3 games with Buffalo last postseason, actually. 3 appearances, 1 overtime loss, .896 save percentage, allowing 6 goals on 58 shots. That's all we have to see in terms of his simulation history. While Silovs, last year for us, in 3 appearances, went 1-1, had a .915 save percentage, but 3.99 goals against. 6 goals against, but on 71 shots. I don't think I can really take those 3 appearances from either goalie as the decision maker, honestly. It comes down more, in my mind, to what they did with us this season. I think it's fair to say that wins and losses don't mean as much. But when Silovs had so many wins and so few losses, I think you got to take that in consideration as well. At the same time, they had identical save percentages, but in the second half, Silovs was better. But then again, on the other hand, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen has played more. We've relied on him more. And even though his numbers weren't as great in the second half than in the first half, he did have a strong end to the season that got us the President's Trophy. So all that to say, I see the arguments for both sides 100%. I can even see an argument for Casey DeSmith being our starting goaltender, even though he only had 8 appearances. We know what he can do in the postseason in the last couple of years. Wild numbers. 21, 10, and 3 with a plus 920 save percentage and something around 2.5 goals against average. But he hasn't played as much this season. We know he does very well in the slow sim, and we won't be afraid to turn to him, that's for sure. But I don't think we would start with him. So again, all that being said, I think I lean UPL by like 50.1 to 49.9 just for game one, but he will truly have to impress me. I would think, unless it's a crazy great performance, even if we win, I would think Silovs probably gets game 2, and then we use games 1 and games 2 as a bit of a reference point moving into game 3. So UPL will begin the postseason, but that does not mean that we've decided on him as our starter just yet. Okay, so that's where I'm at. So goaltending figured out for the moment, even strength lines are figured out, special teams are figured out. Defense, don't forget that Carson Soucy currently out injured, so Jared McIsaac will be slotting in. He played 9 games this season. He had 2 assists and was an even plus minus. So Jared, buddy, we're relying on you down on that third pair playing with Josh Manson. Soucy is out until today's April 20th. He's out until May 2nd, so not too long. So he'll come back in most likely as soon as he's healthy. We just got to get to that point. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are the top team in the NHL, facing the last team to squeak into the postseason, the St. Louis Blues. They went 40, 32, and 10 on the year. We are yet to face them in the postseason yet this franchise mode series. Looking at their lineup, they have Claude Giroux, Rob Thomas, and Pavel Buchnevich as their top line. A crazy top line in terms of production. 91 points from Giroux, 84 points from Rob Thomas, and then Pavel Buchnevich at a 90 overall, put up 87 points. So a very high production line. Second line, nothing to sneeze at either. Kyrou, Catton, and Comtois. Third line, Neighbors, Boldzuk, and Snuggerud, 86 overall there. And fourth line, Tropchenko, Robertson, and Nybeck. On defense, they have Krug and Trouba on their top pair. Jacob Trouba, the former captain of the Rangers squad that beat us in the Stanley Cup Final last year. Falk and Leddy on the second pair. Prunovic and Parayko on the third pair. So a bit of an older defense core, I'd have to say over here. 36, 33, 35, 36, 28, 33. But on the older side, plus pretty low overalls as well. But, you can't ever be fooled by low overalls in EA land, right? Goaltending, it's Karel Vejmelka at an 84. This season, he had a 910 save percentage. 31, 24, and 8 was his record. No playoff history in his stats, so first ever postseason appearance for him, backed up by Jordan Binnington. Healthy scratches, Shen and Saad are both injured, while Justin Hall is a healthy scratch. So there is the St. Louis Blues squad that we'll be facing in round number 1. The last time these two teams met was in the first round of the 2020 postseason 7 years ago when the Canucks took out the Blues in a 6-game series. So we're thinking about that 7 years later, and I wouldn't mind repeating history. So ladies and gentlemen, Game 1, Round 1 here at Rogers Arena. Year 1, we lose in Round 1. Year 2, Western Conference Final. Year 3, we lose in 5 games in the Stanley Cup Final. Now Year 4, President's Trophy champions. 2027 postseason. Let's leave it all out on the ice and make this season count. And as always, don't forget that this video is about an hour 20, hour 50 in length, always different. I do that to keep you on the edge of your seat, reacting with me live as the events take place. So if it does happen that we lose early and it's just an hour of a black screen or something like that, just letting it run for a little bit would help the performance of the video very much. So I'd appreciate if you could do that, but I'd rather that, it be a surprise and we lose out on a little bit of performance so that we can enjoy it a little bit more. So that being said, let's enjoy, sit back, and let's do it. First period of Game 1, and the Canucks are up 1-0. JT Miller opens it up at home in front of the fans, being outshot 15-8, but up 1-0 after 20. Thank you, JT. Second period, up 3-0. Now that's what we like to see. Ratu makes it 2-0, and then a power play goal from that second unit, Tyler Bertuzzi. The first postseason goal by a Bertuzzi in Vancouver in quite a long time, and we're up 3-0 after 20, with the shots being 29-20 in the Blues' favor. Up 3-0, doing very well defensively. UPL standing tall. Make it 4-0 now as Elias, Mr. Point per game, puts us up 4-0. Power play St. Louis, shorthanded goal! Elias gets his second of the period. Then a power play and make it a power play goal from Ratu. And then an even strength goal from Parayko to break the shutout. Unfortunately, a shot like 37. While the Blues are peppering the net, but we're standing tall. Shorthanded goals, power play goals, up 6-1, and that'll be all she wrote in game number 1. We end being outshot 41-36, but we win 6-1 the final. 1, 2, 3 goals in the periods, respectively. 40 saves from Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. UPL, how about that for a postseason Canucks debut? A goal and 3 assists from JT Miller and 2 goals from Elias Pettersson. JT Miller really fell apart in the postseason a couple of years ago, if I'm remembering correctly, so very good to see from him. But even better to see the 40 save first star honor for UPL. Anze Kopitar, concussion in game 1. That's quite a lengthy injury, actually. We're talking like 5 weeks here. That is not good news. I don't want to promote Dano, partially because of the workload, but also because of the +2 on the third line. So it's probably more likely that Reinhart goes to center. Does Bertuzzi move up? I think he has to with the X factors and has an 85 overall. It's a -1 though. He doesn't have a good fit on that second line, unfortunately. Yeah, no one really has a great second line fit, especially Ratu. We could move him to the top line, but we saw how that didn't really work for Kuzmenko. But maybe it works better with Bertuzzi now on his line? I don't know, he scored 2 goals. Ratu had 2 goals there. One was a power play goal. Yeah, so it worked out putting him on I just remembered. Putting him on that first unit power play ended up working out. That 93 power slap shot got him a goal. So he had 1 even strength goal, 1 power play goal. Do we go +5, -1, or +4, 0? That's the thing. Kuzmenko, he was playing with, Pettersson and Miller scoring left and right. He didn't get anything. So let's do it. Let's do it. Maybe we can play with it later on, but let's try Kuzmenko, Reinhart, Bertuzzi on the second line, Miller, Ratu, Pettersson on the third. Fourth line, Coleman or Maroon could come up. Let's go Coleman. Let's go Coleman, Dano, Podkolzin to keep the +1. And then fourth line center, Jared Anderson-Dolan can come back in and play fourth line center. So I got to fix up all the special teams, though, unfortunately, because Kopitar does leave a big hole. Second unit power play, second unit penalty kill. So I got to start thinking about who's going to fill those spots. Give me a minute. Okay, I fixed everything up, but very unfortunate to lose Anze Kopitar. Oh, we needed the veteran presence, and his point production didn't hurt either. And he really wanted a shot to play for that cup. That's why he signed here, that one-year deal. His postseason isn't necessarily over just yet. A Stanley Cup Final does go into like the second week of June, or at least into the first week of June. So if we can go on a long enough run, Kopitar will come back. But that's a big loss for us. Despite the 6-1 win, we're celebrating, woohoo, 6-1 win, but we lose out on the second-line center that we signed in free agency. Now, without him, we're kind of back to where we were last year, kind of having Reinhart play there, maybe JT Miller could play there, Danault could slot up in a real tight pinch. Let's see what happens here in game number 2, still at home at Rogers Arena. Big 6-1 win, but that wasn't just because we outplayed them. That was because Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen made 40 saves. So let's try and alleviate some of that pressure on him, make sure we're still scoring at that same high pace, and keep the pedal to the metal here in game number 2. First period, 2-0 Blues early. Kyrou and Krug, 2 goals on 8 shots, and we're down 2-0 despite outshooting St. Louis 10-8 after the first period. Second period now, 2-1. All right, Philip Danault, shorthanded goal, very well done. Mixed up the penalty kill units a little bit, and that's a great goal from them. 2-1, we're down by 1 after 40, only being outshot by 1 as well. We are in it. We are still in the range. Power play, 5-on-3, killed off by the Blues. Great chance there for Vancouver. We're still down by 1 at the halfway point. We're leading in shots. Power play again into Elias Pettersson, who ties this game up at 2. Thank you very much. 2-2 game with 5 minutes to go. Shots are tied up, or at least quite tight as well. Final 2 minutes, late heroics, or will we see overtime? We're off to the extra period. Shots end 34-32 through 60 minutes, and we're going to see overtime. In overtime here at Rogers Arena, a goal for the Blues will tie this series up, headed back to St. Louis and make it a best of 5. A goal for the Canucks will put them up 2-0, headed to St. Louis. Big shot! Oh, I can barely get the words out as Rob Thomas scores to win it for the Blues and tie the series up at 1. A nice little squeaker in the slot that gets through UPL. Oh, man, where's the coverage here? Yeah, Quinn Hughes has his back turned. Who's covering this guy? Gives him a hit. His elbow's in his shoulder. Bumping into him, but it doesn't mean anything, I suppose. Whatever. Shots end 34-33, but we drop it 3-2 in overtime. All right, so a tight loss now makes this series a best of 5, headed back to St. Louis at Enterprise Center. Let's keep it rolling. Nothing really to touch upon through the lines. We are going to have to see a bit more until we consider any more big changes since Kopitar is out. Let's give that second line another chance. Let's give that second unit power play another chance. Game 3 in St. Louis with the series tied at 1. First period of Game 3, we end 2-2 after 20. Wow. Comtois opens it up, then a power play goal from Lekaramaki, his first career postseason goal, and he follows it up with an even-strength goal less than 2 minutes after that. Then Buchnevich ties it up, and in the final 11.5 minutes, no scoring. But wow, 4 goals early. Shots 13-9 in our favor, and Jonathan Lekaramaki, the rookie, has both of our goals. Second period now, 3-2 Blues after 40. Buchnevich gets his second early in the second period, and nothing after that. Shots are 21-20 in the Blues' favor, and we're down by 1. Third period, power play St. Louis. We kill it off. Power play St. Louis once again at about 5 minutes in, but Tyler Bertuzzi scores just as it expires, and we're tied up at 3. But Nick Leddy answers right back. Is that the first postseason goal by Bertuzzi in who knows how long, or had Bertuzzi scored earlier? I may have missed that. 5 minutes to go. We're down by 1. Shots are even. 2 minutes left. Final minute. Giroux heads the empty netter. Wow, this is getting scary now. Shots end 35-32 for St. Louis. This is a spunky, relentless little team here. 35 shots. They're getting a lot of shots on net. Buchnevich, 2 goals and 2 assists. 2 goals from Lekaramaki. Thank you, sir. But not enough as we drop it 5-3. 4 goals against on Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen. He's allowed 7 goals in the last 2 games now. And we find ourselves down 2-1. Was that Bertuzzi's first goal? I forgot. No, it was not. Sorry, it was not his first goal. But still, just to say, Bertuzzi back on the score sheet in Vancouver after quite a long absence in the postseason. So UPL has a .925 save percentage. I wasn't very impressed with Game 3, but he was outstanding in Game 1. Game 2, so-so. I think he's earned himself another start, but the leash is as short as it's going to get over here now. The leash is as short as it's going to get. Plus my... Whoa! Ratu, -5. Kuzmenko, you're killing me, man. Reinhart, -3. No. We got to make changes here. So, Ratu, you're moving back to the second line with your good buddies here. Bertuzzi, he scored. He looked good. What if he plays first line? Yeah, okay, here we go. Kuzmenko, you're out of here, buddy. Let's go crazy. Podkolzin's seen the second line before. I'd almost go with Karamaki even, but Podkolzin's going to move up. We're going to go Kuzmenko, Dano Coleman? No, let's go Kuzmenko, Danola, Karamaki. And let's just double check here. +1, fourth line. Yeah, okay. We're going to go Kuzmenko, Danola, Karamaki, Maroon, Anderson, Dolan, Coleman. Defense, -1, 0, -2, -3, +1. Okay, that's good enough. All right, so those will be our changes headed into Game 4. We're down 2-1 in this series. Don't panic just yet, but we got to win this game to tie the series up at 2 headed back home. We cannot allow ourselves to go down 3-1 and then have to win 3 consecutive games. So on the road in St. Louis, it was a tight loss with an empty net added to it. Let's get back on the horse tonight. Let's the offense going in the top 6. Let's put that pedal to the metal. Here we go. First period, 1-1 after 20. Philip Hronek on the power play. Thank you very much. Then Berkeley Catton on the power play answers back. Shots are 12-7 for St. Louis after 20. We are tied at 1. Second period action. Now, okay, that is what we've been waiting for. No, none of these little back and forths now. Power play goal from Pettersson and his second of the night going to Philip Hronek. 3-1 Canucks after 40. Shots are 23-17 in our favor. Now let's add to this lead. Don't let them crawl back in and chip away 3-2, 3-3, 4-3, 4-4. Then we go to overtime. We're up 3-1. Let's add to this lead. We have 2 goals from Hronek. That's on the defense. Only 1 goal from our top 6. Come on now. 5 minutes to go. We're still hanging on to the 2-goal lead. The worst lead in hockey, but we're hanging on to it. And that'll be enough to... Hold on. 20 seconds. Okay. Woo! Robertson scores with 34 seconds left, but we hang on for the 3-2 victory. Way too close for comfort. Shots end 36-29 in our favor, but we barely come away with that one. Hronek with 2 goals. Lukin 27 saves. And a great save percentage from Vamelka as well. But thank goodness we get the victory to tie the series up at 2. Headed back home to Vancouver. It will be now a best of 3. Let's check those plus minuses again. 0, -2, -2, -4. Okay, -2 +1. 0, +1, +1, +1, 0, +1. Okay, all right, acceptable enough, I have to say. Goaltending, UPL's at a 927 save percentage. All right, let's keep it rolling, buddy. That was a good performance, I gotta say. I liked what I saw there in game number 5. Excuse me, I meant game number 4. Now let's keep it rolling into game number 5. We're back at home, coming off of some tight games when we were here, but we had the big 6-1 victory in game 1. Let's show the home fans something special in game 5 and have the chance to end it in game 6. None of this little back and forth chippy hockey. We're the best in the NHL for a reason. Let's show that tonight. First period, and it's 1-0 Vancouver after 20. Josh Manson, the third pair defensive defenseman, has to score with 55 seconds left. But we did more than quadruple the shots, 13-3 after 20. Okay, St. Louis is not going to let that stand in the second period. Let's make sure that we're ready for the onslaught. Second period, 2-1. All right, Neighbors scores early, but then Bertuzzi scores late. Shots end 26-11, more than doubling, but we're only up by 1 headed into the third period. Way too close for comfort again, I have to say. I am not liking this. Let's add to that lead. Let's go now. I have 30 shots. 33-13. Let's go now. 2-1 game it remains at the halfway point here in the third period. And of course, Bushnevich will tie it up. Shots are 35-15, and we're tied at 2. 5 minutes to go. Here comes the Robertson winner on the fourth line, right? 15 seconds, we're off to overtime. Shots end 36-20, and we're off to overtime. It was a quick finish last time we were here as Rob Thomas ended it at home in game number 2. Here we are in game 5 overtime now. Next player to score will put his team up 3-2. Bushnevich had that game-tying goal. He's coming in now against Hughes. Can't squeeze by. Bertuzzi's going to pick it up, go around the net, and look for options. Hughes skates backwards, gets tied up. Now he's going to give an outlet to Miller, across to Pettersson. Pettersson, Willander, and now here's Bertuzzi. A lot of space for Tyler Bertuzzi. Tries to pass it in front. Ooh, almost gets, hand passed from the St. Louis defender into Vamelka, but we'll take the face-off. Offensive zone draw for the first line. Now Pettersson on the dot. He's going to win that back to Hughes. Hughes, board pinned, trying to kick it down low, and he does to Bertuzzi. Why is Willander back? I just realized Willander out there. Terrible giveaway. Don't tell me Hronek's injured. That's a little bump there to regain possession. Here's Miller. He's going to skate back and look for options. He finds one in Bertuzzi across to Pettersson. Elias can't squeeze through the defense. Bushnevich is going to take it back and give it to Thomas. Now here's Claude Giroux. Claude Giroux avec les rondelles. It comes in. Snipes it through traffic. Claude Giroux. What is that? 2 overtime shots, 2 overtime goals for the Blues? They just score in their first shot every time? Once again, at a loss. Just right through Hanifin, no problem. Shots and 36 to 21. 36 to 21. And we lose by 1. And we now got to win back-to-back games. Soucy's back. All right, Soucy's back to full health. That's good. We'll get him back in the lineup. Maybe that'll help out the defense a little bit. But I don't know what to say about these lines. Kuzmenko has 2 points, but we need goals. Goals, buddy. 5-star shooting. We need goals, Kuzmenko. Tyler Bertuzzi carrying up on the top line. Same for Pettersson. JT Miller, the playmaking. Second line, I don't know. Sam Reinhart, okay. What can we do here? Can Danoka? No, Danoka wouldn't work. Coleman? No, wouldn't work either. No, we'll keep it like that. But what about Podkolzin? Podkolzin, it probably wouldn't help to see him move. No, not doing anything. Defense now. -1, 0, -2, -3, +1, +1. What am I saying? Of course Willander's always in the top pair. I thought he was playing with Hronik. No, what am I saying? Of course Willander's always there. It wasn't because of injury. But that being said, maybe Hronik should move up. Maybe moving to the higher overall would be helpful when it comes to the postseason numbers here. McIsaac, you did well, +1 in 5 games, but Soucy's going to come back here. We need to have him in. Anyone that we'd pull? I don't think so, despite the bad plus-minuses. We'll go Hughes, Hronik, Hanifin, Willander, Soucy, Manson. But, oh, that's why. It's because Hronik and Hanifin were over +30 together. But right now, Hronik's at -3, so let's change it up. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen, .917 save percentage. I guess we continue rolling with the known commodity. He's given us a chance to win. It's the offense that hasn't come through for him. He has given us a chance to win just about every game. The offense has not come through. So that makes me say we got to do something for the lineup, but I don't know what we would do. No one in the bottom 9 really deserves any sort of promotion here. Unless we say let's really go for it, and Karamaki comes up and Podkolzin goes down. Why not? Why not? We got to do something somewhere. They're in the middle 6 at least. And I guess that's about it. I guess this is our lineup that we're going to live and die with. Here we go. Game 6 in St. Louis at Enterprise Center, down 3-2 against the last team to make the postseason as President's Trophy winners. Did we expect anything else from EA, right? But it's not over yet. We only need 2 wins, and we can do that. We can do that. It all starts here on the road, and we'll finish it off at home. We've shown the ability to score. We've shown the ability to defend. Now let's do it both at the same time. Let's do both those things together. First period, and it's 2-1 Vancouver. There you go. Karamaki, yes, let's go. Power play goal from Bertuzzi. Buchnevich ties it up, and then Karamaki on the second line gets his 3rd goal of the postseason, and we're up 2-1 after 20. Second period now, 3-1. Anderson Dolan, thank you very much. Okay, we're up by 2. Shots are 26-22 in our favor. The last time we had this 3-1 lead headed into a 3rd period, we gave up a late goal but hung on for the 3-2 victory. This time, I want to see us add to the lead ASAP. 3rd period in St. Louis, up by 2. Power play opportunity early, killed off by St. Louis. And then there's Rob Thomas making a 3-2 game. And a power play with momentum, 5-on-3 right after. Oh my goodness, huge kill as we kill off both of those penalties. We're up by 1 late. Power play of our own, and Elias Pettersson restores the 2-goal lead. And Patrick Maroon, he knows what he's doing out there in the postseason. Giroux adds a late goal, but we'll hang on for the victory. 5-3 the final. Wow. Shots end 39-36 for St. Louis, but we win 5-3. Who's taking penalties over here? What's going on here? It was hooking, and then it was tripping, and then it was roughing. Oh my goodness, roughing on when you're killing a penalty. 5-3 the final. Thank you, UPL. Does he get honors? No, he does not. All 3 stars were from the Blues. They scored 3 goals. Okay, we scored 5, got 0 stars. But we have tied up the series at 3, and we're headed to Game 7. Way too close of a series, and there's so many things going through my head for the offseason already, but let's take it 1 game at a time. Let's allow this team to dig itself out of the hole that it created, and Game 7 is the chance to do that in front of the home fans. We won Game number 1 at home, then we lost Games 2 and Games 5 in overtime at home. So this will be our lineup, this will be our defense, and we're rolling with UPL between the pipes. He's up to a .918 save percentage now. It's going to have to do. It's going to have to do. This team got 53 wins. It can be that Anze Kopitar leaves, and now we just totally fall apart. We are a strong team, and we are a team that plays for one another. May 2nd, 2027, Game 7 of Round 1 here against the Blues. Let's end it off and keep on rolling on what is hopefully going to be a year of destiny. First period, 2-0 St. Louis. Turchenko and Snuggeroo, 2 goals from the Blues' bottom 6. And we're down 2-0 after 20 at home in Game 7. Second period now. We need something fast here to get back into it. We need a goal in front of the home crowd to get them back into it. We need some momentum. And thank you, JT Miller. His second goal of the postseason gives us some life. We're down 2-1 at the halfway point of this Game 7. Power play Canucks now, killed off by the Blues. Final 5 minutes now. Can we get another one headed into the intermission? That would be big for the momentum swing. Nothing coming for us. Shots end 22-18 for St. Louis. And we are down by 1. Third period of Game 7. Wow. Gentlemen, it's moments like these wherein people will judge a team. They won't think about the year that was. They won't think about the accomplishments, the memories, the hurdles that you got over with your brothers arm in arm. They won't think about it. And they'll think about moments like these, gentlemen. They'll think about moments like these. When your backs were against the wall, and the odds weren't in your favor, but you dug deep, and you remembered what got you here. Third period, down by 1, at home. Let's let the world know. Third period, let's do it. Here we go. The speech, what's the speech for? What's the speech for? Bushnevich. Down by 2, a quick goal from Bushnevich. We score 1 goal in Vamelka. Yeah, there you go. Take the penalties. Hold on, Bertuzzi shorthanded goal. Hold on. Berkeley, hold on, Patty Maroon. We're back in it. We're back in it, Patty Maroon. Let's hop in now. Oh my goodness, what a roller coaster of emotion the last 10 seconds were for me. Woo, we're going in. We're going in. Patrick Maroon. That's why he's on this team. Look at Patrick Maroon, 38 years of age, about to retire, 75 overall. He's going to carry you? Are you not embarrassed as a 90 overall? Are you not embarrassed that he's going to have to carry you? 3.5 minutes to go, down by 1. Let's go. Here comes Kyrou over the blue line against Hanifin. In the corner now, puts it in front. Ooh, little redirection. Ukko-Pekka-Luukkonen makes the save. The first save we've seen in the slow sim in the third game that we've gone into. Let's get the big dogs out now. Behind the net, Bertuzzi. Behind the net to Hronek. Hronek to Hughes. Now here's Pettersson. Come on, get the shot off. Thomas is going to take it back the other way now. Rob Thomas, couple of little moves. He's going to keep possession in front. Little redirection stopped by UPL. Giroux going up against Hanifin. Step up on him. Come on, Hanifin. Don't just let him skate by. Come on, Noah. Claude Dancoin up to Trouba at the point. He gets hit. There you go. Come on. Just skating over his head. Okay, Ratu. Here we go. That's it. Here's a breakaway. Look, Karamaki, the rookie all alone. Oh, big poke check. Ratu, and he's tripped. There you go. Power play now. Big power play coming up. He's tripped in the corner. Rob Thomas, 2 for tripping. All right, what we got to do now is make sure that we have the line strategy set to... Well, actually, I probably won't change anything on the power play, eh? But I'm gonna do it anyways. Make sure everyone has their cycle shoot bias set to max. There you go. Shoot that puck, baby. Now what about the power play units? Power play can't really do much, eh? PP carry. Now it's just breakout, eh? And then the shooting formation. No, so I can't really do too much there. We have our roles, and we'll have to go with that. That's it. All right. So the power play is coming out now. Big opportunity. A power play as Karamaki is tripped in the corner after he had that breakaway chance. Just about 2:02 to go. Power play to carry us to the end of this game. Dano on the dot. That's why we put him out there and he loses it. And Letty's in. Hold on, Dano jumps for joy. Here's Hughes. Oh, that's going to go wide, but great job by Dano to keep it in the zone. Bertuzzi, the point. Ratu on net, can't get through his own man. Hughes in the corner. But then on net, Quinn Hughes. That just got a piece of, Vmelka got a piece of that, I believe. Hughes at the point. Ratu on net. Glove save there from Vmelka. Falk trying to clear it out. Hughes, no, can't keep it in. Now here comes Bodzuk. Zachary Bodzuk going to go one-on-one. Over to Neighbors. Thank goodness. A little pad there from UPL. Neighbors. Letty. Don't let them set up. Here we go. Petson. Let's go. Let's go, Sam. Here we go. Sam Reinhart on his horse. A little bit of a partial break to Miller. Stopped by Vejmelka. Pettersson on the dot. Loses it. Another offensive zone face-off loss here by the power play units. Braden Shen is back, and he's going to dump it. Maybe we should have pulled the goalie earlier. You were probably shouting at your screen for me to do that, but we lost both those face-offs, so it probably worked out that we didn't. Great save from UPL as Brink gets a shot off through traffic. Let's go now. Skate up. Let's go. Let's pull that goalie. Here we go. Sam Reinhart into Blues territory. Goalie is pulled in front. Oh, on the doorstep. Preko's going to dump that down. And no, don't skate over it. Okay, here's Hronek. Come on now. JT, 40 seconds to go. We're 6-on-4. Don't let them push you back into your zone. All right, Elias Pettersson. Set it up, big boy. Pettersson. Hronek with space. Blocker save. Pareko board pinned with 30 seconds to go. A little battle down low. Trouba over to Kyrou, and he's going to dump it down. I guess we'll look for a change here. They're too tired. And if we get a face-off, it'd be a different story. But Karamaki has space. Karamaki in front. Hughes. Oh, big save. Blocker of Vejmelka. Letty dumps it again with 10 seconds to go. Neighbors misses the net. Last rush. Skate up. Let's go, Quinn. On net. 5 seconds. Shoot. President's Trophy curse. What else would you expect in EA? Coming off a Stanley Cup Final exit and a President's Trophy win, the Canucks lose in 7 games to the last team to make the postseason, the St. Louis Blues. Shots end 39-31 in the Blues' favor, and we drop it 4-3 in Game 7 at home. Let's check out the stats through that 7-game debacle. Somehow, we had 3 point-per-game plus players. Bertuzzi, Miller, and Hughes all scored 8 points. Elias Pettersson scored 5 goals. 5 goals. -4, but 5 goals. Willander, 5 assists. Shout out to him. Patrick Maroon, 4 points in 7 games. Same for Ratu. Karamaki had 3. Hronek 3. Reinhardt 3 points, -2. Maroon 4 points, -5. Kuzmenko 3 points, -4. Maroon 4 points, -5. Anderson Dolan 2. Manson 2. Phil Danault with a couple. Kopitar 2 assists in his 1 appearance. That injury really killed us. Oh my goodness, did that injury hurt us. 2 assists in Game 1 in our 6-1 victory, then just fell apart. 2 assists and a +3 from Blake Coleman. I enjoyed having him. But Colson 2 assists, -1. Hannafin 1 assist, -5 after being a plus 34. Susi in his 2 games, he was a +2. McIsaac 5 games, +1. UPL 3-2-2, 915 save percentage, 2.97 goals against. I would love to have seen the exact same postseason, but with Silovs or with DeSmith as the goalie. But honestly, Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen never gave us a reason not to play him. He played well enough, allowing 2 goals, allowing 3 goals. Our offense should have done enough that UPL had done enough. We can't expect shutouts and 1 goal against games every night. Would Casey DeSmith or Silovs have done that? Maybe. We'll never know. But UPL never really gave us a reason to pull him, I have to be honest. So that's that. Let's sim to the draft. Let's get our thoughts in for the offseason, and that'll be it. Big black screen coming up. Your 2027 Stanley Cup champions are the Buffalo Sabres. Congratulations to Buffalo. Let's check it out here. Columbus wins the draft lottery, jumping from 3-1. Very good. We'll see retirements now. Here's a big one. We definitely have a couple names who could be retiring. We're thinking about Patrick Maroon and Anze Kopitar. Kopitar, 39 years old. He's signed on. He's extended for next year, but the game doesn't really care about that. He's getting older. His potential is going down. His overall is going down. He just got injured in the postseason. Was that injury enough for him to say he's calling it a career, or does he want to come back and play middle 6 for Vancouver next season? Anze Kopitar is coming back for more, thank goodness. All right, so Backstrom's calling it a career. Jeff Carter, Brent Burns, some big names out here. Drew Doughty, Oliver Ekman-Larsson, there you go. And there's Patrick Maroon. There he is. Patrick Maroon at 39 years of age, retires 2 games shy of 1,000. If we had known, we would have played him. Sorry about that, Patrick Maroon. I'm really sorry, actually. 150 goals, 205 assists, 355 points, now at a 73 overall. We brought him in to be that veteran guy, to be that postseason presence, and he played 2.5 full seasons pretty much with us. We really enjoyed having him here in Vancouver, I have to say. Thank you for your time, Patrick. We appreciate all of your efforts. 4 points in 7 games. What a monster. What a true monster. Tremendous efforts from a legend of the game. Tremendous. Well done. Take a bow, sir. Goalie's retiring. Marc-Andre Fleury at 42 years of age goes out with 602 wins. He was still an 80 overall. The Flower. What a legend. Marc-Andre Fleury. Wow, they don't make him like the Flower. Just in case anybody else is hiding here. No, just Patrick Maroon. All right. So there's the retirements. Doughty, Burns, and Suter are all now coaches. Interesting. And there's some coach retirements here. One of the coaches down in Abbotsford retired. No one in Vancouver. Good. Draft interviews. I'm going to do a few of those in case anybody is not fully uncovered. All right, that's all done. Pro Scout calling, and here we are at the draft. All right, let's go through the year that was. Quickly looking at the playoff tree first. So after we lost to the Blues, they ended up beating the Oilers in 6 games and then losing to the Wild in 6, and they ended up losing to the Sabres in a 7-game Stanley Cup Final. Interesting. So quite a postseason there for the NHL. Looking at the awards now across the league. So the Sabres win the Stanley Cup. The Cup stays in the East for a 4th consecutive year. There's our President's Trophy, and then Clarence Campbell and Prince of Wales. Individual awards, Nathan MacKinnon wins the Art Ross and the Hart. Do we see Quinn Hughes? Yes, we do. Back-to-back James Norris trophies for Quinn Hughes. Well done, sir. Lady Byng going to Mitchkov. How about that? Calder to Markstrom on the Canadiens. Jeff Skinner, wow, wins the Conn Smythe. Sorokin wins the Vezina. Luukkonen and Silov share the Jennings. How about that? 83 and 80 overall goalies sharing the Jennings. What a world. Korzak wins the Masterton. The coach of the Kraken wins the Jack Adams. Selke going to Barkov. Ted Lindsay to McKinnon. And Maurice Richard to Pasternak. Down in the AHL, anything for us here? None. Jeff Skinner, what you do, buddy? 23 points in 21 games. Wow. Buchnevich had 23 points and didn't even make the Stanley Cup Final. He really did not... he really hurt us. Let's just say that. He really hurt us. So here we are at the beginning of the offseason now, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have some decisions headed into year number 5. We'll really want to hope that this year was some sort of major hiccup and that next year will be a year in which we can consolidate and look to see growth. I already saw some growth. That's why I'm going to the player progress report right here. Aatu Räty at an 88 overall. I am shocked. I am shocked that this low elite player has grown to an 88 already. This is incredible news. Maybe he won't stick at an 88, but this is incredible news for us. Growing in just about every category. Wow, wow, wow. Even got himself a superstar ability. 88 overall, Aatu Räty, incredible. Tom Willander up to an 84 also, so good growth to see there as well. Blake Wheeler at an 80. Yeah, so Wheeler's gone. Don't worry about that. UPL's up to an 85. Lekaramaki at an 80. That's really good news as well. Everyone else looking at the same overall that they were, but Golzin down to an 81. I don't think anyone else. Yeah, Kuzmenko down to an 86. Definitely a trade candidate this offseason. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. In the system, what growth do we see from our prospects? Shen, 59. Niknov at a 64. Rainer Muller to a 62. Dallas Johnson at a 73. He'll be in the AHL next season. Mises at a 76. Let me sort by overall even. Not a lot of growth from our big guys, eh? Callum Ritchie still 79. Coleman's down to 79. And what about O'Brien? Still 78, huh? So hopefully their growth will come over the course of the offseason. So there's the progress report. Just quickly take a peek at that. But looking at the contracts now, let's be honest with ourselves. Let's look at the forwards. Next season, are we rolling with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12? I don't think so. Foodie's not a full-timer. Wheeler's not coming back. Danault's likely a candidate to move. And I think Kuzmenko's a candidate to move as well. I know it's one bad year. He's been a consistent 80-point guy. But on the first line, on the second line, in the postseason, he has not been good at any time in 2026-27. No flashes of brilliance. No positives. No good moments. Does that mean that he's out? Do we move the money and make a splash in free agency, perhaps? We'll look at potential free agents in a moment. But I was not impressed any which way, at any moment, for any time, for any reason. I feel like Michael Scott's in David Wallace's office here. If you know, you know. at any moment for Kuzmenko. Bertuzzi was a great surprise. Kopitar is going to come back, probably third line center because he'll probably go down overall a little bit more. I would think Danault is gone. He's on a cheap extension. Teams will be open to taking him. So in terms of trades, Danault and Kuzmenko. In terms of letting people walk, Wheeler, whatever else, Foodie, I don't know who wants what. Lekaramaki, what's he looking at? He wants a little bit. Okay, if we go 8 years, $8 million, come on now. So Lekaramaki will get his extension. That's just looking at the forwards. On defense, do we touch anything there? We definitely have to make some changes because Manson won't be back. He was wanting like $5 million. Yeah, he wants way too much. We can't afford that. Our extension dollars right now are at $12.7 million. We're still paying the 4.767 buyout to Oliver Ekman-Larsson. So we can still keep Hughes, Hronek, Hanifin, absolutely. Willander will come back on whatever RFA contract we can get him to. Yeah, it's actually not that bad. We could do 3 years at 4 point something, or even into the threes maybe. Maybe could dip into there. Susi can come back. It'll just be who's playing third pair right D. Third pair right D is all we got to wonder about. Do we look in the system? Do we see McIsaac become a full-timer? Is he another seventh defenseman? Brucevic coming up would be the best case scenario, but I'm not sure if he's going to grow enough. I'd want to see him probably at least at a 78 to grow into getting a chance into the NHL. So there's the defense. We likely pick up some defense as well. And goaltending, UPL is at an 85, DeSmith 81, Silov's at an 80. I say we run the three-headed monster again. No reason not to. So that being said, for all expiring, Willander will get signed. Manson, Wheeler, likely on their way out. Foodie maybe, Kupari maybe, Lekaramaki of course. Does Blake Coleman come back? What does he want? 1 point, we could get him, he could get that like $1 million Patrick Maroon type contract. Coleman could be a very valuable 13th forward for us, so I could see Coleman coming back. Aside from that, a lot of these guys are at that replacement level, so it's not the end of the world if we don't bring them back. But just to show you all the potential expiring names. So 12.7 million is what we have now. Danault would free up another 2 million. Kuzmenko would free up another like 8 million. We could be talking 20 plus million headed into July 1st in free agency. Who are the potential pending UFAs? Let's check it out. First, looking at the forwards, sorting by overall. You see Hischier, Zacha, DeBrusk, Marchand, Skinner, Stone, Domi, Frost, Lehkonen, Yamamoto, Zucker, Hartman, Malkin, Heidel, Monahan, Garland. Lots of names down the list as we go. Sidney Crosby at 39. Down the list we go here for anyone who stands out to you. If we really want a first-line left wing or just like a good top six winger, I'd say we'd be looking at least 86 overall, if not more than that. So Max Domi at an 87 is likely an inflated number. A veteran guy like a Mark Stone on a one-year contract wouldn't be crazy. DeBrusk is at an 88, which is really crazy. Was that just because of, I don't know, it looks consistent enough. 75 points from Jake DeBrusk. He's turning into something that he probably won't be in the real world in this sim. Same for Zacha. One big year, I don't know. If you want to see stats on anybody else, let me know. I'll get you the numbers. Lehkonen didn't look great. Yamamoto, good year from him on Long Island. Yeah, some of these overalls might be inflated. You got to be careful with that. And on defense, if we want a third pair right D, we're probably not looking at the big guys. Pesce and Girard, our top pair with the San Francisco Starfleet expansion, our live franchise mode series. Check that out if you haven't already. Nikishin could be a UFA. If we're looking third pair right D, can we look at just right D? No, we can't. But if we're looking at those guys, maybe Branson, I don't know, offensive defense, maybe like an Artem Zub, maybe a Zadorov, maybe a Lyubushkin, maybe a Ristolainen, David Savard, maybe a Colin Miller. Yeah, lots of good veteran type guys who would fill in nicely for even that Pietrangelo is an 81. That would bring quite the presence to the third pair if he's looking for something smaller in his older age. And goaltending, if we're just curious, these are the potential UFA goalies. Aside from that, do we want to think about coaching changes? I don't know. This head coach did not impress us this season. We have Ramirez as the A-rated associate, but our head coach did not impress us this year, I will admit. We need a new AHL assistant coach. But yeah, there is our coaching staff. Before wrapping up, we'll also want to take a look at the draft. Our picks in this draft, we have the 28th overall selection in the first round and the second round. So we have our own first and our own second. Boston's third, our fourth, our fifth, then Boston's sixth and seventh. So 1 first, 1 second, 2 thirds, 1 fourth, 1 fifth, 1 sixth, 1 seventh. Nothing much, nothing too crazy in draft capital. And it's a pretty good draft. So if we're moving Danault, we're moving Kuzmenko, I wouldn't mind bringing back some draft picks as opposed, I don't know, it depends if we want players or if we want to go with the free agency route. it's a difficult situation because there are some good prospects out here. The top 5 is normal, all the medium elites and all that, but there is good depth to this class. Where we're drafting at 28, not the greatest top 9 forwards, of course, always at the end of the first round, but into the second round, medium top 6, low elite. A ton of medium top 6s, medium top 4D, low elite again, lots of top 4D and top 6 forwards all throughout the draft. Especially if we sort by potential. We have a medium elite here, right defenseman, an enforcer, a medium elite defenseman. Then if we look at the low elites, there's a bunch late in the draft in this one. Really exciting to see that we're going to hopefully get as many low elites as we can. Even this Italian, Corey Mara from Italy, of course, Italiano, Paisan. So let's keep going here. We see top 6s that go well into the hundreds there. Yeah, okay. Lots of medium top 6s. Even the low top 6s. Yeah, there's a lot of potential targets. Woo-hoo. Not enough picks for us to target everybody, but we'll have to see who's around and where come the time. Yves Latendresse, 3 years away. He's a gem. If we also want to look at NHL ETA for players who are outside of the top 5, the 6th overall pick is 1 year away. Clarence Bertuzzi. Oh my goodness, 6'4", Clarence Bertuzzi. Oh wow, he's NHL ready, slated to go 10th overall, medium top 4D potential. Even Nicholas Eriksson, NHL ready for him. He is also a defensive defenseman, 6'2", right-handed shot though, right? This guy's left-right, this guy's just right. So 2 NHL ready defensemen at 10 and 11. Hugo Brossois at 12, 1 year away. Edler at 13, 1 year away. 2 more players who are 2 years away, and then from 16 all the way to 33, everyone is 3 years away. Before we get this guy, Mikko Niskala, NHL ready, 6'4", A shooting, 2-way forward, playing in an A+ league, slated to go 34th, and he has medium top 6 potential. NHL ready, we will definitely want to be targeting him. Then after him, there's a low elite who's 3 years away, 6'5" defenseman. Then if you jump down to Cody Brown, 1 year away and A+ shooting. These are really good numbers for a player to go this late. 93 points in 72 games. Cody Brown, another potential target. And then there's even Tom Goldman, who's also NHL ready and also has A+ shooting, playing in the QMJHL. So if we could maybe, I don't know, trade out of the first round and get just like 3 early second round picks to get Niskala, Brown, and Goldman, that might be best case scenario. And then even this guy, Jody Piero Zabato, low elite, NHL ready again, defensive defenseman, 20 points in 68 games, probably like 77, 78 overall, but still NHL ready, low elite potential, going at 45. And everybody else in the draft is either 3 or 4 years away. Okay, so some really interesting second round gems, but everyone else would be 3 or 4 years away. I think we should definitely be targeting those guys on top of a few other ones who are going to be going later, those low elites, those low top 6s. This could be a very important draft. What kind of trade value do we have? That's where we might be dipping into the Kuzmenkos and the Danaults of the world. Danault, they have a fair bit of value, especially if you put them together. So a lot to consider for the draft, for extensions, and for potential free agency. Just what is our team going to look like next season? If I had to tell you who I think the locks are next year for the forwards, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe 8 for Anderson Dolan, but then 9 Lekaramaki. I would hope that 10 would be O'Brien and 11 would be Ritchie. I don't think Misa's ready yet. So then number 12, that leaves you a top 6 spot for whoever's number 12. And that's if Anderson Dolan's a regular. So, and then Coleman's your 13th forward. I think that would work. So throw in a top 6 and cross your fingers for Ritchie and O'Brien. They're the forwards for next season. If we look at our defense for next season, the top 4 is set. Third pair would maybe be Susi and Brustovic, but it's more likely that we have to bring in somebody else. Could it be someone straight out of the draft, or would it be from free agency? And goaltending, rolling with the 3-headed monster. So I think that about does it for what we have to think about for the postseason. I put a lot in your heads, ladies and gentlemen, and it was, and our mental spaces are not in a great space right now. I'm just on the roller coaster, and I'm going straight down. I cannot believe that this team lost in the way that it did in round number 1. And I just don't really have any more to say. I gave my speech, the team didn't want to listen, and changes will be made in the offseason. I still think this is a strong team. I still think this could be a Stanley Cup caliber team. At Turatu at an 88 overall will do great things. Speaking of Ratu, do we make him second line center with 70 faceoffs, or does he play the wing? So that's going to be really what affects our question for the offseason. Do we bring in a second line center like Kopitar now that he's down to third line center, or do we put Ratu as second line center and bring in a winger if we're still rolling with Pettersson and Miller on that first line? Maybe Ratu becomes first line wing, Reinhardt's second line, and then the third line, maybe Bertuzzi's in there as well. A lot of ways to think about it. I know I'm throwing way too much your way. Well, we got to take advantage while we have the players on these contracts. Ratu has a 2-year extension at $2.175 million, and then he will cash in. By that time, Bertuzzi's deal is done. Kopitar's deal is done. We have to capitalize on this window while it is here. The window won't necessarily close, but it will get more difficult if we have to start paying more money to goaltending. We're very lucky right now to have those 3 goalies for under $3 million, Ratu for $2.175 million. We need to capitalize on these opportunities. So ladies and gentlemen, I'll leave you there. Leave me any and all of your off-season thoughts down here on YouTube or over on the Discord server, link in the description. It's usually about 4 or 5 days between episodes. It might be a little bit longer than that, into that 7, 8, 9 day range. I'll be recovering actually from laser eye surgery. As you're watching this, I would have already undergone the procedure. So I'm gonna need a little bit of time for the eyeballs to rest up, but that just gives all of you more time to put as much thought and love as possible into your off-season thoughts for year number 5, 2027-28, coming right up. Ladies and gentlemen, despite the disappointment, thank you very much for taking the time to watch. And honestly, I'm excited for next season. I like the growth, and I'm excited for these potential moves that we're considering. It's a strong draft. The future of Vancouver is bright. This was a very tough pill to swallow, but I promise you that the sun will shine on us again. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch. I'm looking forward to seeing you once again in the next one for what will be a very loaded off season.
durch des Himmels prächtigen